Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining today's final RetailNext fireside chat with Adore Me. I'm very excited to have Marie-Prune, Performance and Merchandising Director at Adore Me with me today. A little bit before we hand it off to Marie for an introduction of herself, I'm Joe Chastain, Global Manager of Advanced Analytics at RetailNext. RetailNext is the first retail vertical IoT platform to provide e-commerce style analytics for brick and mortar retailers. Our centralized SaaS platform automatically collects and analyzes the data to provide real-time analytics to our retailers so they can make data-driven business decisions in real time. We are the pulse of the store with trusted by more than 450 retailers across 90 countries globally. And with that, I'm very excited to have you here today. Would you mind just giving a little bit of background of yourself as well as Adore Me and the history of kind of physical stores within Adore Me?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to start with Adore Me. So Adore Me is a lingerie company. It was founded by our current CEO, Morgan Herman Wage, in 2011 when he had trouble finding high quality but affordable lingerie. And so that's how he started. He's a graduate from Harvard Business School, so that's why he started in the US. And well, he started our website in 2012, and in the first year, we sold over 100,000 garments, so that was really successful. And in 2014, we were the second highest lingerie growing brand, according to Inc. 5,000. Sorry, I don't remember the name of the ranking, but yeah, very huge accomplishments. And then we became profitable in 2017, and that's where we opened our own Adore Me services. And store became very quick after that because we opened our first store in 2018. And then we started expanding in the eastern and southern part of the US. And I think the latest news for Adore Me, our biggest change, we got acquired by Victoria's Secret 2 years ago, 2022. So that's really like the biggest accomplishment. It was $400 million for the acquisition, which is like the biggest B2C acquisition in a very, very long time. So yeah, obviously very successful. I'm very happy to be here.
Great. And with that, you mentioned opening the stores in 2018. So what was some of the rationale of moving from kind of digital into the physical brick and mortar stores?
So I think there was several elements. It's something we always had in mind, like, online and in-store. It's something that are very complementary. But there was mainly three things. The first thing is that at the time, we started to see limitation around our own acquisition, like CPA starting rising, like acquisition cost. And so we wanted to try this new business model. Second thing is that we really felt the need to meet our customer in person because there is so much that you can do with data, but at some point you really need to hear customer feedback, like really where they are. And the third thing is that we really wanted to try this new business model, but we also have we wanted to challenge the old kind of retail way of doing things. And so I think we were just coming with that mindset of test and learn and trying to find the right time to do it. And with the acquisition cost surging, that's where we said, okay, it's the right timing. We should open the store.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think we hear that from a lot of retailers as they go from digital only into the online space. That cost per acquiring those new customers is really starting to rise. And opening those stores is a new way to kind of make that a little bit more efficient. But along those lines, when you open those new stores, what was then the rationale for adding traffic sensors and getting data like that? So what was the initial kind of plan or strategy for traffic, and what was the goal of that project at that time?
Very good question. So I think it's because we're coming for everyone at Adore Me is data driven. We're even almost more a tech company than a fashion company. I'm a data analyst myself, and I'm the owner of everything that's happening on the website. So opening stores and being blind around the data was just something we could not do. And at the time, we really looked for a solution to help us be okay, online you have this funnel, which is traffic, conversion rate, AOV. And that's your revenue equation. And that's where all the optimization that we're doing are coming from. How do we manage to replicate that in store? Because obviously you get your average order value, you get it from customer purchasing, but the two other steps, which are traffic and conversion, how do you get it? And that's where we decided to install the traffic counters. And I think like for us, that was 100% success because we really managed to replicate this funnel. Obviously with KPI, it's slightly different in store. Like we have the capture rates and then the traffic in store and then the conversion rate in store. So that's the first thing that we really wanted to. But then I think there are two other elements that we didn't necessarily forecast at the time, but that were really, really useful. The first thing is kind of obvious, but coming from digital, it's not the first thing that comes to mind. Is like labor planning. Obviously, when you're going into store, you need to plan accurately how your different sales associates are going to like come, how much you need every day. And so that's something that we had to learn from scratch because obviously very different from digital. And so that's how we started, like with the traffic data that kind of help us from the beginning, planning very accurately this like labor planning. But I think now that we have like more than 4 years of data, it's crazy how accurate actually the plannings are thanks to like just, past data that's really helping us. And I think the third interesting thing that we have is around like demand forecasting and inventory management, because we have this tool that was developed internally by our data science team that's kind of like replenishing product as soon as they go as they're supposed to go out of stock, so they never go out of stock. And actually, we've integrated the traffic data into that tool. So it's not only like you reach a certain threshold level and it's replenished, it's really like anticipating the peak of traffic that we might get from seasonality or other element to really get this 100% accurate forecasting.
No, that's great. I feel like you just hit on like all the main points that we usually try to explain to customers as to why they need this kind of data and how it can be useful, especially when they're coming from the online space, like you said, where you maybe weren't considering some of these options until you start to open up those stores and really see the different needs that you have in operating a physical store. But kind of along those lines too, what do you find are the main drivers of traffic into your physical stores and potentially the differences that you might see with driving traffic to physical store versus driving traffic to your online spaces?
Yeah, so a lot of it is similar, but we do have some differences. So, for instance, in the similarities, obviously the high promotional periods. So you have like usually December and June are usually like semi-annual sales months, so very, very promotional. You have Black Friday, everyone knows it's crazy, both in store and online. Then you have some seasonality that are very specific to our business, like lingerie, obviously Valentine's Day. The current period is very high in traffic, both in store and online. But then we have some elements that are more specific to stores. The first one is like we create the specificities with our CRM strategy that is dedicated to our store customers, so they would get a promotion that we only apply in stores. And so this is like to drive more traffic. Second thing, which is like online, if you have a deadline, like for instance, Valentine's Day, Christmas, or any like birthday or anything, if you wait too long, then you cannot shop for it because you have kind of like the delivery time. So you have a sort of shipping cutoff, whereas in store, you can shop until the last minute. So for instance, around Valentine's Day, we see online our sales decreasing around February 7th. Whereas in store, we know until the 14th is going to be a huge traffic for it. So that's really like seasonality driven, but also specificities of store. And I would say the last element is like we're organizing several types of events in store like to really drive traffic. And these are something we don't do at all online. So for instance, we're going to have influencer events. We're going to have events specific for top store customers. We're going to make some very specific event like bridal showers in our store that would drive a very niche type of customer, which is the bridal market. So yeah, all these elements.
No, I think those all are great. And I'll probably ask a few more questions about kind of driving the in-store experience and making that unique compared to the online in a little bit. But just understand a little bit more about the differences between your online shopper and your in-store shopper. Are there different metrics that you see between those, different types of shoppers? Are there different, acquisition strategies you're using to try to drive, a shopper who's online into the store, or potentially, an in-store shopper into online, or, different methodologies or strategies there as well?
Yes, we definitely do see different metrics. The first one that's obvious, I think, for anyone that's seen both online and in store is the conversion rate. It's so much higher in store. Like, they say online, you need to see your product 7 times before just buying it. Whereas in store, obviously, the first time you come into store, your purchase intent is much higher. And if the sales associates are doing a great job, chances are super high that you're going to buy. So conversion is way higher. Then in terms of like average order value, I would say it's also different because online we work on a subscription based model. So very often the first order value is way lower because customers are more in a like testing mindset, so they're going to shop for a lower value item like panties, for instance. Whereas in store, we really see this high order value from the first order. And then starting the second orders, they're kind of more aligned. So we see that's our average, like what customer will shop on Adore Me, but we really have these two differences. And finally, the third difference is that online, we sell in sets. So you need to buy your bra and your panty that are matching, whereas in store, a customer can basically buy what they want. So that's also giving us very strong insight and feedbacks of like, okay, in which cases is it really important for a customer to have the top and bottom matching, whereas in which cases does she just doesn't care and will just buy the bra, for instance. So that's like small difference.
Yeah, and that's another interesting point too about that different experience in store versus online, a little bit more customizable potentially in store, giving customers a reason at that point to get in store to maybe, get the options that they're looking for instead of maybe being locked in a little bit more with what the online platform will provide. But kind of taking a little bit of a step back to think about your overall traffic trends in stores, over the course of 2024, RetailNext's performance pulse data showed that traffic was down about 2.5% compared to 2023. The apparel industry, a little bit better than that, maybe about, negative 1.5%. So pretty in line though overall. And then kind of post-pandemic, though, we still are seeing that we're in kind of a new normal with traffic trends being about, 10 to 15% lower than they were in 2019. So I'm just curious, what have you seen, being with Adore Me for a few 4 or 5 years now at this point? How long have, what trends have you been seeing as well in store with your physical stores?
Yeah, so that's very interesting. Right after the pandemic, like obviously during pandemic, well, was not traffic in store. And right after the pandemic, we really saw a surge of traffic, like almost customer can almost back to life. They wanted to be in store. They wanted to speak to people. They wanted to have these sales associate explaining to them. Maybe they wanted to, see other customer. And so we really hit our peak of traffic between 2021 and 2022, early 2022. And after that, it's true that we've encountered difficulties like having traffic, well, first into the mall and then driven into our stores. So we've improved our capture rate of customers. So technically, we decreased less than the organic traffic that we're encountering to malls. But we've since 22, like I would say a double-digit decrease since that time. And yeah, that's really probably one of the biggest challenge that we're encountering in store because, well, obviously we're kind of dependent on the mall traffic and there is not much more we can do.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And then kind of, talking, you mentioned a little bit of this earlier, but how are you balancing your omni-channel strategy for that digital platform, online sales versus the in-store? You touched on a few of those points around the experiences there, but yeah, what are you doing to try to drive that experience to make sure that customers are coming in store and it's still a unique experience that's going to drive that repeat visit for customers?
Yeah, I think the main difference between online and in-store, at least for me, even on a personal level, is just the human experience that you get in store and you don't necessarily get online. So that's really what we try to emphasize on our in our stores. And I would go with having like sales associates like really being there to help you and like just finding the right size, being there to measure you. Like, like 80% of women actually don't wear the right size of bra. So that's like something you won't notice online and you might think is the right size for you. It's not really. So having a sales associate helping you choose and even choose the right shape, like intimate, lingerie is something that is very intimate for customer. And so having someone helping them might be very tricky. And even if you go further than that, just experiencing the product, being able to touch the fabric, see like if that's really something you want to have so close to your body. And I would say also like helping into the whole gifting area. So either during like Christmas, like holiday period or Valentine's Day, we have a lot of customers that come here for gifting. And if you're not yourself a customer of lingerie, it might be very tricky to find the right gift for the person you want to offer something to. So I think having someone helping you is really, well, it's
That
just why customers are coming.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we know from kind of surveys and other research out there that when customers are coming into stores, they're looking for more than just a place to transact, right? They want that experience. They want the consultative services of, making sure they're buying the right thing, right size, like you mentioned. So I think that all makes perfect sense with, how you're going to drive those individual customers to store and then repeat visits. And I'm kind of curious about, how do you monitor repeat visits? Are some of these services, are they appointment based? Is it all kind of, walk-ins and then they're able to get the fitting? How do you balance that?
So we have several elements. We have some very like data-driven points and some that are more like qualitative. So for instance, we have the Net Promoter Score (NPS) that we're measuring very accurately in all of our stores. And for us, it's like one of the main KPIs regarding customer satisfaction. We make sure that it's never going like below 90. Which is almost twice what we have online. Not that it's not important online, but it's just like we know that customers are coming in store for that experience, and that's what it's measuring. So that's why it's so important for us. And then on the more qualitative side, we just make sure that our sales associate, they know their top customer. And so, for instance, you were mentioning like customers that are coming back, like a return rate. Well, they have the personal cell phone number of their top 50 customer, like each of them. So, for instance, where we have an event or something a bit like exclusive, they will be able to call them or text them to tell them, hey, remember this new collection we're talking about? Yeah, it's in store. Do you want to come and see it? You might get an exclusive discount because you're such a loyal customer and you've been here first. So that's really like having this relationship built between customers and our sales associates is really something we're trying to enforce to make sure customers want to come back.
So it really comes down to kind of making sure that experience is great for customers and they're kind of connecting with the brand and associates in the store to, drive that repeat visit. But along those same lines too, within the in-store experience, is there any sort of, newer technology that you're implementing, whether, AI driven, everybody's trying to drive AI tools at this point, but any sort of interactive experiences, app experiences, check-ins like that, anything else that you're adding to the in-store experience as well?
Yes, that's an interesting question because especially for Adore Me being like tech and data driven, we're like, okay, we're gonna revolutionize everything and put like tech everywhere. And let's just say we came a little bit back on that. So we implemented some elements that are like extremely well working. Like for instance, we have the smart mirrors that enable you when you're in the fitting room to just automatically get a garment either in a different size or different color without having, to get dressed again, get out, coming back, etc. So this is working extremely well. We have also like the what we call the flying cashier. So it's like you're able to check out any points in the store where there is a line at the cashier, or just like go to any sales associate and just check out. So that's great. But then we try to, spice it up a little bit, and we're like, okay, sizes, like finding the right size for you is so tricky in the lingerie business. So we use this tool that at the beginning is a fitness tool that kind of scan your body and give you a 3D rendering of your body. And this tool is supposed to give you the exact right size for you. And this was working like perfectly, like the size were extremely accurate. But the issue is like customer actually didn't really want to see their body in a 3D scanning because, well, no matter how confident you are in your body, maybe you don't want to see that. Maybe, I don't know, plus if you're getting measured or you're looking for your size, maybe something happened in your life that made you want to, like, maybe, I don't know, you had a baby and your body changed. And so you don't want to see this 3D body scan right away. And so having a sales associate that's extremely nice and that's going to walk you through the experience and explain to you what she's doing. And then, like, just this human touch is actually much better for a customer, and that's something they value way more. So, well, like, data is great, technology is great. The customer that want to try this 3D body scan are more than welcome to do it, and it's fun and different. But on the other hand, we found that it was not something we wanted to scale too much because customers rather have human actually.
No, that really makes perfect sense. I'm fascinated by the smart mirrors and being able to really kind of make it more efficient for customers to get what they're looking for, try on sizes, right? Like you said, not have to spend that time to put back on all their clothes, go back out and find, the different size. that's really a great tool to make the experience more efficient and a better, try to really drive that more repeat customer. Uh, Kind of also along the lines, I know sustainability is very important for Adore Me. Could you maybe talk through some of your strategies for that and maybe how that's also helping to drive more in-store traffic?
Yes, absolutely. So, Adore Me is the first, I think, intimate B Corp company in the US. That's something we're very proud of, and it's indeed like put everywhere in our windows in store. But I would be honest there, and I would say customers don't come into our store to shop for sustainable product. They come to shop for lingerie and cute outfits and outfits that are like fitting and make them powerful and confident. And the fact that on top of that we're sustainable, it's something that yes, probably it helps some of the customer to convert in the end, but that's not our main driver of approach. But it's still definitely something we insist on, especially with the sales associate. They all get a training around sustainability. They can explain to you like how like all the garments are made, why sustainability important for Adore Me. On top of that, on each garment, you get like a tag that you can scan and will give you like all the explanation around why the product is sustainable and maybe even why it's not perfect yet. And like why it's part of Adore Me strategy to really make sure all the product that we're doing are more and more sustainable every year. Then on more like driving traffic, we have this initiative where you can return a bra that is used, and then we'll work in partnership with an association and we'll give back all the used bra and they will give it to person in need. And so that's kind of it's something exclusive for stores, and that's helping driving traffic back into stores, and it's kind of like this virtuous circle of just like used garments that are given back.
No, for sure. That seems like a great way to kind of give back, but also then still get the benefit of more people coming to the store, potentially browsing and, maybe making another purchase to replace what they're donating back. And kind of just a final question, just asking, what are you most excited about? What are you looking forward to in 2025? What do you think is going to be happening kind of in the store in 2025? But yeah, just kind of open to your thoughts on the future and beyond 2025 even as well.
Well, I hope 2025 is going to be really exciting. I think we're seeing recently like kind of changes in malls, like as you were saying, like customer since the pandemic they kind of get more accustomed to shopping online, and that's where we're seeing like in general malls are transforming and they're turning more and more shopping into an experience, like giving this hybrid elements, like you would get a store but it's also a cafe and it's also maybe at night a DJ set, and maybe right next to it there is like a paddle thing where you can also get your smoothie and like it's almost a gym. And so I'm thinking that malls are becoming more and more like this place, or you don't have each store next to each other, but concepts are really mixed. And that's what we're trying also to do at Adorm, is like bringing you like more an experience and something you will remember than just, a basic shop.
Great, great. Well, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
today. I
you.
really appreciate your time. Thank you all for attending. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.